What up, guys? PC Universe. We are doing this live. PC Universe, sorry. What up, guys? PC Universe. PC Universe. Everything that exists in this universe exists within you. Yes, you. So we are doing this live on YouTube, and we're also doing it live on Instagram. All
On
right,
my Instagram.
on her Instagram. What is your Instagram?
It's LuzEQ, so LUZEQ. That's it.
All right, and my Instagram is longer. It's Ethan E. Ellisor for Instagram. Uh, so nice to see you. How you doing today?
Good.
Good, good, good. So, like always, I don't script out what I'm going to say. I think it's more authentic when the interview is done. Just
That's what we're doing. We're doing an interview.
yeah, we're doing an interview. Sorry, when it's just unscripted and just raw. So we're just gonna do this raw. We're gonna kind of talk about certain issues that um, are going on, certain situations that are going on, how life is, and my goal is to get deeper than the surface level shit. So not just talk about like, oh, dieting, what you eat, how you're training, what do you do for training, but also just dig deeper into the psyche, into the soul, and into the heart, and dig out things that might be dormant inside you that you can discover in hopes to make further progress. So tell us how long you've been on this fitness journey. Do you know?
How long? So, this most recent fitness journey has been going on 2 years in a couple weeks. And I say my most recent journey because it's not my first. So, fitness, weight has been something that I've struggled with my entire life. Um, and so I've been on multiple journeys. I've gone different directions. I've done multiple things. I've never really dieted. I've never been a big dieter, per se, but I've gone through my stints of working out or vigorously doing something to try and lose weight. It goes back to like high school when I like basically caused myself to become anemic because it just wasn't eating. And but I was losing weight, and so at that point it's what mattered. Um, high school, it's just that it's what you do, right? You try to be just that type or whatever. So I would wear like the sweatsuits and I would go run laps around like the local elementary school and not really eat. I remember for a while, like I just went and ate Snyder's pretzels and water. And that would be like my meals. And so then I started getting really sick and I started kind of like passing out and, you know, and that was cool. Um, so I'm definitely at a point now where it's probably like the best place I've ever been in as far as fitness point goes, or like a health perspective.
Good. And so, did you feel pressured in high school to look a certain way? Like, was it your peers that pressured you, or was it social media? Well, back in it wasn't as popping as it is now, but was it like the celebrities, you know, watching TV and wanting to look a certain way back in when you went to high school? It might have been like those skinny models that were popular. I don't know, but what was something
Um,
that triggered
you
that?
know, I don't know if it was my peers necessarily. I've always been the type of like I don't give a fuck type person, but I was a lot more into like celebrities, and I was that type that would buy the tabloid magazines at the grocery store like religiously. Um that I think a little bit of that, but also like family pressure. You know, like for anybody that follows me and that saw my post that I posted earlier about, you know, relating to certain words. So my family has always referred to me as La Gorda, which is very typical in Latino families because it's, you know, I don't know why it's a thing, but it's like a term of endearment that, or term of endearment that we use for family members. And what it translates to in English is the fat one. And so that was who I was. That's who I still am. You know, my parents still call me that. But I was I was always the biggest one of my siblings. Like it's four of us, it's four girls. And I was always the bigger one. So I think it was more so that I didn't really have a lot of big family members. Or at least that I was close to. Like the ones that I was closest to were always thin, never struggled, you know, that type. Um,
How do you think? Um,
and also, like, you know, in high school, like everybody wants to have a boyfriend, blah blah blah, and you're always like,
See, I was gonna mention that. I was
you
gonna mention
know,
that as well.
but
The having wanting to have a boyfriend and wanting to look a certain way definitely puts pressure on high
but
school
then the
girls.
guy that I dated for like my high school years ended up being with someone who was fatter than me.
Mm,
And he
eh,
married somebody who was a lot bigger than me. So I'm like, why the fuck was I so fucking worried? Like, who the fuck, you know? But whatever, it's what happens when you're young.
he likes thick. Well, I don't want to say thick.
Not
That's not
thick.
thick. Yeah, that's
That's
not
it's
thick.
a difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference. So how do you think your mom calling you, was it gordita?
La gorda.
Oh,
Or
la gorda.
gorda or
La gorda. Am I saying it right? La gorda.
yeah.
Okay. La gorda. How do you,
But gordita is also like
yeah,
a
yeah, that's
like
what
a
yeah,
same thing.
yeah. How do you think that affected you?
So I think, and you know what, I've had this conversation with another one of my cousins who also grew up with that nickname, and it's true. Like you know, you just it's like that is who you become. It's like your identity, and because you know, a lot of the times like. You know, you have to fight for the acceptance in your family, especially in Latino families. When you come from we come from huge families. It's like you have to find your place in, right? Like because so many people are trying to take over the attention, or um, so it's like okay, well that's what I am, that's what my family says I am, so that's what I'm going to believe I am. And so you know, the post I posted earlier is from it's a few pages of the book The Secret, and basically what it says is like you start identifying yourself as such, and so you start having those thoughts of like you know the fat thoughts, and they're so true. It's so true. You do start having those thoughts because it's like, well, I'm fat, so why not fucking eat this cake? You know, I'm already fat. Why not fucking eat whatever? You know, I'm already fat. Like, who cares if I go up another size in clothing? You know, like all of those things start becoming so much more acceptable, and you just start like kind of going with it because it's who you are. It's who it's you are,
It's,
that fat person. You
it's
are
a,
because that's what your family has always told you you are. That's what you've grown up believing. And so it's just part of your identity.
acceptable to the person. It becomes more acceptable just like, oh, well, I can gain another clothing size or go up another clothing size.
Yeah.
Um, I can eat this other burger. What's a few pounds? It's whatever. It becomes more acceptable because that's what they accepted as their identity.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot easier just to go like start escalating in weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
I mean, I don't know if acceptable is the word because I don't know that we're always
Mhm.
like accepting of it, but it's just like, oh well, oh what's another size? Well, oh, okay, you know, it's what everybody expects of me anyway, right? Because they've always said I'm the fat one, so why not?
And so we kind of talked a little bit, we touched on it a little bit, as far as it's a protection. Gaining weight is a protection. Um, it's oftentimes we have certain things that trigger us as a child, whether it be trauma, whether it be a bad experience, whether it be a bad situation, that causes us to want to shield ourselves from that situation. Or in another case, we were talking about its protection of our identity. We hold on to this endearment of being overweight because we established that identity, and to leave that identity would be dangerous because we're entering the unknown. We're entering the unknown of, if if I'm not the fat one, who the fuck am I?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm nothing with I don't want I don't want to say that. I'm kind of
I don't know
exaggerating.
who I
I
am.
don't know who I
Yeah.
am. I don't know who the fuck I am if I'm not the fat one. I've been the fat one my entire life, and now all of a sudden, here comes me or something like that, or somebody else is like, hey, you can do blah blah blah. You can become healthier. You can become more fit, so on and so forth. And it's like, whoa, I'm not. I'm just giving an example, of anybody that might have this identity issue. Like, oh, who the fuck are you, Ethan? I've been this identity my whole life. Who are you to tell me that, I can
Mm-hmm.
um, be more healthy? Who are you to tell me that I can be more fit? I've been living in this body my whole life. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is they defend their identity.
Yeah.
They fight for something they don't want because they don't truly want to be um, overweight. They don't want to be obese. They don't want to be unhealthy. But when it becomes threatened, they become defensive and they start defending their identity. So they ultimately start fighting for something they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they do it consciously or subconsciously, they're doing it. And identity plays a big role as far as of how far a person reaches. Because if they slowly change their identity, they'll slowly change their body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times people miss the point. They focus. I said this in the other video. They focus so much on the external world. What diet can I do? What workout can I do? What pills can I take? So on and so forth. They focus so much on the external world that they forget that it all starts from within. It all starts with how you identify yourself. Your identity is one of the biggest powers that we have because we can change our identity at any moment. We can change our identity every second if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But it involves, like I said, the risky part is I have to leave my past. I have to escape the future in order for me to change my identity, because you can't change your identity still holding on to baggage in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change your identity grasping onto a future that doesn't exist. Just like the past doesn't exist, the past is dead, the future doesn't exist. But we go back and forth sometimes, living in both realms. And it's sometimes very hard. It's sometimes very hard to live in actual present, and because that's when the creation happens, is the present. Um, but the trick is feeling safe enough to leave an identity behind,
Yeah.
leave the baggage behind. What are some things that you are doing to change your identity and um, yeah, change your identity?
I don't know.
Well, you kind of mentioned it already. You're reading The Secret. You're reading The
Well,
Secret.
yeah. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I don't look for like external validation of anything that I am. And so it's more like, what do I think of myself? What do I see as myself? And so I think kind of learning to separate that. Like I said, my family still calls me La Gorda, but do I think I am? No. I mean, other people might look at me and might still think that I am, but I don't really care what other people think. It's just more of like, back to The Secret, where it's like you have to feel good about yourself. You have to feel good about yourself before you become better. And I think that has been probably one of the biggest turning points for me as far as like this journey goes. Um, like, I don't care that people comment about how many times I go to NAMI. Like, how is it affecting you? It's not. And it's not affecting me either. Guess what? I eat whatever the hell, and I don't feel guilty about it. I've stopped doing that to myself. I've stopped guilting myself of, ooh, like, oh fuck, I just had 3 tacos for dinner. Like, oh, I'm gonna be miserable. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not the best thing to do or the best thing to share when you're like trying to live this lifestyle of like this healthy fitness thing, but I'm not. Like, all I'm trying to do is be like we were saying earlier in the car, like try the goal is to live your most authentic life, or at least for me. Um because that's where you're going to find true happiness. And I think ultimately that's kind of what I've been focusing more on is like, what am how am I happy? You know, am I always gonna like, do I always want to be worried about losing weight? Do I always want to be worried about fitting into society's fucking standards of what I'm supposed to weigh and how I'm supposed to look? You know, or do I care what my family thinks? Do I care what other people think? Do I care what the person next to me thinks? You know, it's, to me it's just more about like, how do I feel about myself? um just making notice of the changes that have occurred within myself. um that to me is huge. Like, you know, my entire life I had body dysmorphia, and you know, it wasn't until recently that I can honestly say that it's non-existent anymore. I don't have i don't have like this, like I can look at myself in the mirror now and not be completely disgusted by myself, and I can't say that I could do that my entire life. um and yeah, some days I wake up pudgier than others, but who cares? Like, I still know that, you know, okay, yeah, maybe yesterday I did have too much fucking whatever or whatever. Or maybe your body's just going through some things. And also just also accepting that your body's gonna go through things. You know, our bodies are, yeah, they're amazing, but they go through things and you just kind of have to roll with it.
Do you think that um, finding your happiness, finding your true happiness, will ultimately lead to um, feeling how you want to ultimately feel? Like finding your happiness finding your happiness will result in the image, the body image that you ultimately want to get. Or do you think that there's a collision that is going on with accepting your authentic self and holding on to, or not necessarily, like, so your identity, so however you're establishing yourself as your identity, and I don't know, that's something that you know, however you're establishing yourself with your identity and your true happiness, do you think those two things sometimes collide with one another, saying, you know, this is, you know, who I am, however I want this happiness, and yeah, I'm trying to get to this happiness, but you know, maybe my identity is kind
I
of
think what
conflicting
we
with it.
have to do is stop identifying ourselves by the surface level stuff. Um, I had not weighed myself for a very long time, and I was fine. I didn't feel bad. I was actually feeling super amazing. Um, and then I had to go do some medical stuff, and they had to weigh me. And when they weighed me, I was like, "What the fuck? What happened?" Like, you know, I didn't, it wasn't what I expected because I was feeling so good, because I could see all of the changes in my body.
Mm-hmm.
and and I didn't care to weigh myself. It just wasn't a thing for me. Like, it wasn't, you know, I'm not, you know, um it just wasn't a thing. And so I hadn't weighed myself in a long time. And then when that happened, I like spiraled. I was like, "Oh my god." The first thing I did was I was like, "Oh, I need to start losing weight. Like, what do I need to do? What blah 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 blah." You know, I started like talking to you about it. But then I'm like, "Wait, hold on. Is that all I am? It's just this number on the scale? Or like, can I just pause for a minute and think of how I feel?" Because yeah, that's the number on the scale and whatever, it's what I weigh, but is it who I am? And I think that's the problem, is that that's how we that's how society sees us. Like, that's how we identify. It's like, "Oh, you're this much weight. Oh, you know." But to me, it's like, well, why? Like, that's just something that makes you feel really bad about yourself.
So what do you think that if it's not weight, what is it that's going to what does happiness look like for you? If it's not weight, what is it?
Mm, I think there are certain things about my body that are always bothering me. And but I don't know if that necessarily has anything to do with my happiness, but because I feel like I feel good about myself. I feel like this is probably the best I've ever felt about myself, probably ever. Um, so I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't really know the answer. I don't know. I want to base my happiness not on how I look and what I weigh. Is I
Mm.
guess the point is what I'm trying to make. Is that like I want to focus on more important things that can bring me happiness. I've actually the last few weeks have been receiving messages from some people that I know personally and some people that I don't know personally. And it's actually that has actually made me happy. People, you know, saying like, hey, like I follow, like I've been following this and I'm gonna try this too because you know you're doing it and I want to try and I want to see if I feel good about it or how it makes me feel. And you know, and I think that really brings purpose to me and to sharing a lot of the things that I share. Like, I know people that follow me and look at my story, maybe you guys don't want to see the same things that I post every single day, but that's fine. You don't have to. That you have an option to keep scrolling. But the people that are being impacted by what I'm sharing and are, you know, themselves feeling better because they see um, that I'm feeling better or that I feel good or, you know, even just through my social media, which I don't share everything on my social media, but I do like to share a lot, especially when it comes to the journey, because I know that there's a lot of people that may be going through similar things or may, you know, just need some direction, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Um, but, you know, I shared that message with you from Cynthia. I don't know if Cynthia's watching, but um, she sent me like this amazing message on my Instagram that made me feel really good just to kind of see that like what I'm doing and what I'm sharing is making a difference, even if it's one person. Because I've had opportunities or people have reached out to me to like sell certain things like, oh, you know, how about, you know, like whatever, like you're doing good, how about being doing this, like how about selling this product and being a coach for whatever, like I don't even know what the product is, but
Mm.
like some Herbalife, some other stuff. And for me it was like, you know what, that's not for me. I don't think that I can be real and I can be myself doing that, because for one, I know myself, and two, if you follow me and you follow me for a long time, you know me too. I don't do well like that. I can't pretend to be happy living off of shakes. I can't. And there's no, like, I would never do that. To what? To like make a few bucks off of somebody for, no, I don't think it's fair. Um,
Do you,
and so,
yeah, sorry. Do you think that you can see yourself um, in the future being reaching that goal, whatever goal that you have in your mind? If you can, explain to me or explain to us what that goal is. Can you see yourself actually
I don't
achieving it?
know. It's hard. Like, I don't really, I guess maybe that's my problem is that I don't really have like
A
because I,
tangible goal? It's
yeah,
more of an
because I,
intrinsic goal,
yeah,
like
I
how
think
you feel
a
about
lot of a
yourself.
lot of my goals right now are more intrinsic. That is for sure.
Okay,
Um,
I think that's good.
but I do like to share because, you know, like I said, like just getting those messages and going back to what I was saying, it's like I can't I can't pretend to be somebody that I'm not. I can't pretend to do some certain things that I don't. But you know, getting that message from Cynthia a couple weeks ago, it made me. It proved to me that you know what, I made the right decisions. I could have done those things. I could have taken those opportunities to make a few dollars, whatever. Um, but I didn't because I knew it wasn't me. And the message she sent me proved everything that I needed, or it made sense for me to not have done to not have made the decisions at that point to continue to do what I do. And yeah, my life is a constant contradiction. Like I will never pretend to be perfect. I can't, I'm not. Some days I do fucking amazing. Like I'm like, ooh, look at this. Like I'm counting all my macros. I'm hitting all my numbers. Boo boo boo. But guess what? Some days I don't. And it's okay. And I've learned to not beat myself up over it because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do any good to dwell on fucking up and then beating myself up over it for like to extend that bad, like you feel bad one day and then you start beating yourself up for it and it just causes like, you know,
A perpetual shitstorm.
yeah. And then that's when you fucking spiral. And I've spiraled too many times to put myself in that place anymore. And I can honestly, genuinely say today that, there are some things that I would like to change, but, I also have to remember that my body has been through a lot. Um, when I post my selfies at the gym, it's not for anybody else. Obviously, like it's on social, so other people are gonna see it, but more so it's for me to remind myself that the struggle that my body has been through. Um, I'm very emotional because I'm on my period, but it's okay. We'll get through it. Um, so the struggle that my body's been through, both like physically, because I've put it through so much. I've gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, lost weight, fed it tons of shit that, shouldn't have been fed. And also emotionally and psychologically, ups and downs my whole life, whatever. And I mean, that's normal, right? We're all human. But also, like, to remind myself that it's resilient and that no matter what it's been through, it's been able to bounce back. And it has not ever been the end of the world, or at least not yet. Um, so I do those things.
What's interesting? Sorry to cut you off. But what's interesting is that you are, even though your body is a part of you, you're establishing a different persona to your body from who you are, which is a good thing, because a lot of times we view our body as a direct um, uh, the same as who our soul. When we sometimes forget that we're just kind of borrowing this body right now. We're kind of just occupying this body, and where I think where we go wrong at is we think we are our body. We think we are our brain. We think we are our mind, and we talked about this for a long while, that we think we are our brain. We think that whatever's going on upstairs is who the fuck we are. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah. Who we are transcends the physical world. All that's around us right now, this meditation room, it transcends this. Because all this stuff can be destroyed. Anything that's real can't be destroyed. And so I think it's very empowering that you are creating not necessarily a separate identity from your body and your soul, but understanding that they operate in unison and both have its tangible parts. And your soul, it transcends this physical realm, and your body is in the physical realm. And it's how we operate. Our brain, we have a brain as a tool so we can operate in the physical world, and we use our body to navigate through this world. But also our soul navigates the metaphysical world, where the part that's unseen, all the stuff that's unseen. So I think that's super empowering that you are disassociating but integrating your soul and your body at the same time. But, sorry.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess in a sense, but
Yeah.
I mean it's hard to do, and then especially nowadays, the world we live in, um, I do feel that I had to just kind of break away from it. Yeah, like I'm on social, yeah, blah blah blah, but I really try and make an effort to make sure that what I'm constantly looking at and reading and and if social is like my constant place to go, that like I'm following the right things, that I'm not getting myself caught up in the
Material world
the whatever kind of stuff is going on with who cheated
drama.
on what and whatever.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know,
I think sometimes I might post about this. I don't know if I'll get it exactly right, but sometimes you have to leave the world. You have to leave the real world to understand that the real world isn't really
isn't
real.
real. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't
yeah.
really real at all.
It's it's true, and it's hard to like talk about those things with a lot of people because a lot of people, like, to some people you might just be weird, to some people you might
Mm,
seem like, oh, you just think you're better than everybody or whatever,
mm,
whatever the case might be. But I'm not, it's not either one. It's just that those things don't matter to me. And if I'm gonna spend my time on something, I've learned that, I want it to be something that's gonna, like, how is it gonna benefit me? Even
mm,
just having a conversation with somebody, or even just having somebody in your life, you do have to, and the older I get, the more I realize, like, you do have to make those decisions. Not everybody is, not everybody has to be a part of your life. Um,
mm,
and we were having this conversation earlier that the old me was used to having tons of friends, like always, and especially girlfriends. And so due to unfortunate situations, I don't have that. And it was my decision for the most part, but it's just like I'm kind of still treading along, kind of like I do have some, but I don't have, it's not how it used to be. And
mm.
that's okay. I don't, like, I don't regret any of it, whatever.
Do you feel that you have to sometimes lose yourself in order to find yourself?
Yeah,
You have to kind of like
you definitely
lose,
do.
kind of like what we were talking about. You have to lose that identity.
Hmm.
And so when you lose that identity, you kind of get lost in limbo, like,
Yeah.
kind of like, who the fuck am I? You have to lose yourself in order for you to find yourself. Because when you lose yourself, lose the identity,
Yeah.
you become unshackled. Because what's really holding somebody down, they're held, they're held prisoner by their identity. They're getting stuck in this box because of their identity.
Yeah.
And in order for them to break free, they have to leave that prison that they created for themselves, their decorated prison that they created. Um, but with that comes the unknown. That comes the unknown. And so what ends up happening is people, and a lack of better words, become institutionalized. Just like prisoners in prison, they're scared to leave in the prison walls because they don't know what's out there. They don't know what's out there outside these prison walls, and so they do things to stay within their realm, within the prison walls, and they'll continue to conduct themselves a certain way to sabotage any opportunity for them to leave. And this is what we call becoming institutionalized, but we also institutionalize ourselves, because if we get the opportunity to become a better version of ourselves, and it involves leaving this identity that we established for the unknown, we start self-sabotaging ourselves. We'll figure out ways to ruin it, so that way we can go back to our comfortable identity, even if that identity is suffering.
Yeah.
We become accustomed to suffering, so at least I know this suffering I'm used to, but I don't know what over
I
there
don't
is
know
about.
what
Yeah.
kind of suffering I might find over there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what type of suffering I might find over there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you said, because they'll view it as pain.
Mhm.
they'll view it as pain, even if it's becoming a better version. If it, even if it mean, even if that's, oh, you're gonna work out, you're going to eat better, things like that. You're gonna change your lifestyle around. That's painful. That's painful because I have to um, leave something in order to get to that place.
It's
And
just the
who
unknown.
knows?
It's just that more than anything.
Yeah.
And because it's like, we are, um our society is very, what is the word that I'm looking for? It's hard to do different than what everyone else is doing, because everyone else is doing this. I'm expected to do this. We're
Follow the sheep.
brainwashed. We're brainwashed.
We're the sheep.
There's so many things out there that are brainwashing us, and it's like, if you let yourself, you will just start following the crowd. And again, not to say like, oh, I'm better or whatever, but um it does make a difference when you start looking at things from a different perspective. It does make a difference when you start looking at things, again, like separating yourself from certain things. I think probably the best thing that I've done in the last year is just learning to spend time by myself, to seclude myself, to just be by myself. um
Is that
it
because
just
you became more self-aware?
A little bit of that, but also because it was just like I needed to set, like, how can I explain this? Because it can be exhausting trying to keep up with people. It can be exhausting trying to explain yourself to people. It can be exhausting trying to get people to comprehend like what you're going through. Um, and sometimes when your energy and your vibration is high and someone else's is not, they'll just drain you. They'll drain yours. And so even if and it wasn't because, oh, I'm depressed, I need to go be by myself. It wasn't. It's like, I started becoming more protective of myself. I started, um, setting more, boundaries of for myself. If I just felt like, you know, and sometimes, like, I'll tell you, like, whatever, I'm not in the mood. Don't, like, don't talk, because you're gonna
Yeah.
drain my energy, or
Yeah,
you're
she
gonna,
will. Yeah,
you
she
know,
will tell me like,
um,
get the fuck away, then shut the fuck up, all of those stuff.
yeah,
Because
and
for those of you that don't know, I'm Luz's coach.
yeah,
Um, and so um, I
we clash a lot.
yeah, we clash a lot. Um, but I think she knows that I'm trying to get her to become the best version that she can be, and so and I know she wants me to become the best version I can be, and so we understand that. But we're both passionate about things, and because we're so passionate, we clash. We'll end up clashing, and sometimes I'll piss her off. Sometimes she'll piss me off, and it's part of the game. But we both understand that we are trying to look out for somebody, each of each other's best interest, and so that's how we kind of like get past us cussing each other out for a sec, and then kind of get back to the drawing board
Get back to cussing each other out.
yeah, and then get back to cussing each other out and so on and so forth. But I'm gonna end this here. I'll probably do a part two some other time with Luz, and just get a little bit deeper into.
You can follow my Instagram
Follow
and see
Instagram.
my stories. What cool things I do, like celery juicing.
Celery juice and sea moss, motherfucker, sea moss.
And sea moss
Sea moss
shakes.
shakes.
And what else do I do?
Where can they follow you at?
I'm on Instagram, LUZEQ.
And
no underscore, no nothing, just LuzEQ.
LuzEQ. LUZ
EQ.
EQ. And I'm on Instagram at Ethan E. Ellisor, all one word, ETHAN Ellisor, Ellisor, Ethanellisor. I think I said it right. Ethan E. Ellisors. Yeah, look me up. All right, guys. Peace, the universe, everything that
Or the
exists.
gym.
Oh, yes, the gym. Follow the gym, please. It's Destroy and Rebuild Fitness, all one word. Destroy and Rebuild Fitness. Awesome content. Videos pretty cool. So yeah, I look forward to
Booties.
hearing from you guys, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace in the universe. I'm out.
Bye.
Bye. Oh.